The anime opens at Hanuji Academy, where a student steals a 1-star Ultima uniform. He is accosted by a member of the student council, Gamagori, who is the head of discipline in the school. Gamagori wears a 3-star uniform and easily defeats the thief that has broken school rules. So let's get a quick run through. In this school, students wear Ultima uniforms that grant them superhuman abilities ranging from 1 star to 3 stars. There are also students with no uniform, so 0 star. Ryuko arrives in this city. She is searching for clues to solve her father's murder. She goes to the academy and makes friends with Meiko Mankinshoku, who is a no-star student. Meiko explains the school hierarchy to her and states that Satsuki Kiryuin, the student council president, is the undisputed head of the school. You know how powerful student council members are in anime, right? They are more powerful than the UN. Later, Ryuko confronts Satsuki about her father's death, saying that she is looking for the wielder of the other half of the giant scissor blade. Ryuko is beaten by Fukuroda, the head of the boxing club, who wears a 2-star uniform, and she quickly retreats. Ryuko finds herself in her father's now destroyed house. Her blood activates a living sailor uniform, and the next day, she one-sidedly defeats Fukuroda. As she begins to question Satsuki again, her sailor uniform, which she names Senketsu, notifies her that she is losing too much blood, so she has to retreat. After falling unconscious and being saved by Mataro Mankinshoku, she wakes up in the Mankinshoku household. She is reunited with the friend she made in the academy. Hanuji Academy wants to take over the world, and they decide to stage a tennis tournament. Yeah, this anime is that dramatic. Ryuko tries to save Meiko from the tennis club's punishment, but Senketsu doesn't activate and she is beaten too. Her teacher, Mikasuji, takes her to his house and explains that Senketsu is a god robe and needs her blood to activate. He reveals to her that her father created Senketsu and also teaches her how to use it. The next day she meets the tennis club, and instead of a fight, they begin a tennis match, which she initially performs poorly. However, when she turns her scissor blade into a tennis racket, she wins effortlessly. After defeating the tennis club president, Satsuki, wielding a sword that can cut even a god robe, challenges Ryuko, but she has to retreat again after Senketsu notifies her that she is low on blood. Mikasuji explains to Ryuko that the Ultima uniforms are made from life fiber based on their stars, while the god robes are made entirely of life fiber. He also explains that her father entrusted him to give her Senketsu. Satsuki wears her own god robe named Junketsu, and she beats Ryuko brutally. Mado Mankinshoku advises Ryuko to go completely naked, allowing her to utilize the full power of the Senketsu. They now fight on equal footing. Oh yeah, in case you didn't know, this is Eki and there's a lot of boobs and panty shots on display. Ryuko says that she will get the answers she needs from Satsuki, while the student council president tells her to defeat all the students she throws at her if she wants to do battle with her again. No late day has arrived. It is a school event where students must navigate several traps and still arrive early or be expelled from school. Senketsu is washed by Mankinshoku, so Ryuko can't wear it and easily scale through the traps. Ryuko and Meiko begin their journey to school, even hijacking a bus for starred students, while other members of the Mankinshoku family try to deliver a now-dried Senketsu to them. Later on, their partner named Maiko turns out to be the head of trap development. She has been deceiving them. The girl snatches Senketsu and puts it on. Ryuko has to race against time as she retrieves her god robe and also arrives on time with Meiko, so they are not expelled. A mysterious sniper named Tsumagu tries to assassinate Ryuko. The sniper uses a gun that shoots needles, and he is not as discreet as an assassin should be, but who cares? Anyways, his plans fail when he is interrupted by the gardening club. Later on, Tsumagu catches Ryuko and pins her against the wall, but before he can kill her, he is interrupted by Ryuko's teacher, Mikasuji. We later learn that Tsumagu and Mikasuji belong to the same organization, and Tsumagu believes that the god robes are threats that shouldn't be left alone. The next day, Tsumagu and Ryuko fight. It is revealed that his needle drains power from Ultima uniforms and god robes. Their fight is interrupted by some clubs, which they defeat. With Ryuko now backed into a corner, Senketsu sacrifices itself to save Ryuko, but Meiko arrives and explains the bond between Senketsu and Ryuko to Tsumagu, until Jakujur, a member of the student council, appears and attacks them. They are lucky to escape, as Ryuko, Senketsu and Tsumagu run to Mikasuji's house. Ryuko is shocked when she learns that the organization that Mikasuji and Tsumagu belong to is named Nudist Beach. Back at the school, a member of the student council called Sanajayama gets permission from Satsuki to fight Ryuko. We get a flashback into Sanejayama's past and see that he was defeated by Satsuki and she offered him a place in Hanuji Academy. In proper anime fashion, this tiny girl didn't just defeat him, she defeated the entire Northern Kanto gang. Satsuki goes home to explain to her mom her reason for taking Senketsu, so she misses the fight between Ryuko and Sanejayama. Using his 3-star uniform, Sanejayama quickly takes the lead in the fight. He can read all of her moves due to his fast eyesight. Ryuko blocks his eyes with part of her uniform and defeats him in the process. After his loss, Sanejayama sews shut his eyes and begs Satsuki for another chance. I was surprised that she obliged him, as she has always been behaving like an evil boss. No longer reliant on his eyes, he easily beats Ryuko, making light work of her, but before he can deliver the final blow, his Ultima uniform overheats and this allows Ryuko to escape. Ryuko enjoys a family dinner with the Mankinshoku family, and it means a lot to her. In school she finds out that more students have begun forming new clubs, so they will be eligible to get higher ranked uniforms. Ryuko starts Fight Club and makes Mado the president of the club. Ryuko goes around defeating the president of the other clubs, increasing the Fight Club's reputation and earning Mako a 1-star uniform, which in turn leads to them getting a better house and an increased standard of living. This school's structure is crazy. Just imagine this was how the world is. Mako is so focused on retaining their high standard of living, so she focuses on club activities. Other members of the family are always outside, enjoying their newfound wealth, so Ryuko has to be at home alone, eating dinner alone. With the family now suffering of success, Ryuko decides to resign from Fight Club, as that will bring the family closer again, but Satsuki gives Mako a 2-star uniform and tells her to defeat Ryuko if she wants to continue enjoying her luxury life. The fight starts and Ryuko doesn't attack her, but takes all her attacks. Mako finally sees the error in her ways and the family comes back together. Satsuki, in her usual devious manner, announces her new general election system. Students must fight themselves for 7 days, come out on top and earn Star Ultima uniforms. Before the fight begins, Ryuko takes Mako to the remains of her father's house and explains the incident of her father's death. Gamagori, a member of the student council, sees Ryuko and Mako on the road and gives them a ride, but the car is attacked by members of the Automotive Airsoft Club. The attackers are here for Gamagori, so Ryuko and Mako are just like innocent victims of a drive-by shooting. We get a flashback to Gamagori's junior high school days, where he failed to save a boy from bullies. Satsuki arrives and saves the boy, and announces her rule over the entire school. Now in the present, Gamagori transforms with his uniform, and defeats his opponents easily. With the first stage now finished, only Ryuko and the elite 4 members of the Students' Council are left. Satsuki tells Ryuko to defeat the 4 student council members in exchange for details concerning her father's death. Gamagori gets to fight Ryuko first because he defeated the fewest students among the student council members. Before the match begins, Mikisuji tells her to drop out of the fight. He is scared of what will happen to her, but she declines his advice. The battle starts and Gamagori attacks himself to provide the needed power for a further transformation. Ryuko is unable to damage him in this new transformation, as there is an armor protecting the life fiber of his uniform. A flashback shows Gamagori in his junior high school days. As he opposes Satsuki and says he will not kneel her, she defeats him, but he shows his resolve by propping himself with her weapon, not kneeling till the very end. I can imagine Khaleesi screaming "bend the knee" all through this scene. Satsuki recruits him to her cause due to his resolve, and she tells him to wait for 2 years, when she will make the school that will become her army. Back to the present day, the fight continues. Gamagori brings out the full power of his regalia. Senketsu communicates his plan to Ryuko and they pull out of their synchronized mode. Gamagori thinks that he has trapped Ryuko in his body, as he tries to strangle her against his armor. However, Senketsu uses a new form and destroys the life fiber from inside, defeating Gamagori in the process. Hoka Inamuta is Ryuko's next opponent, and in his flashback, we see that he was a kid genius, as he hacked into the security system of a big company and crashed its stock prices. It turned out to be Satsuki's mother's company. Inamuta was captured quickly and Satsuki arrived, recruiting him in the process. In the present, the fight starts. Inamuta is able to analyze her fighting ability and anticipate her movement through the data he has collected. Ryuko begins to attack more quickly than Inamuta's sensors can react. The young man switches to optical camouflage and it seems like he has vanished. Ryuko can't see him as he attacks her. landing several hits in the process. To counter this, Ryuko expands a Senketsu's eye and uses it to attack the whole arena. The invisible Inamuta is caught in the attack, and instead of being beaten to a pulp, he chooses to forfeit the match to save the data he has collected so far. Jakuzur is the next opponent, and she uses a variety of music-themed weaponry. We get a flashback of a younger Jakuzur vowing to be by Satsuki's side. In the present, Senketsu evolves further to deal with the challenges posed by Jakuzur. Mikasuji is worried at the rate at which Senketsu is changing. He contacts Tsumagu, who starts coming to the academy. The fight with Jakuzur continues, and there is a crowd watching the fight at the Menkenshoku home on a TV. Ryuko and Jakuzur take their fight to the skies as they attack each other on air. Ryuko tries to divert and attack Satsuki, but she is intercepted by Jakuzur. She fires several blasts of sound at Ryuko. Ryuko uses her god robe to match the sound blasts to her own sound wave and fires it back at Jakuzur, winning the fight in the process. Now Ryuko has just one fight left, and her opponent is Sanajayama. As they line up to fight, a mysterious girl clad in pink comes between them. The girl is known as Harem Nui. We learn that Nui is the grand couturier of Satsuki's mother's company. Sanajayama attacks Nui, but she easily defeats him and destroys his uniform in one move. The episode comes to an end with Nui revealing that she killed Ryuko's father, and she is in possessing of the other half of the scissor sword. Ryuko attacks Nui, who taunts her about her father's death. Ryuko's rage affects Senketsu, and it consumes her, creating a monstrous form. Tsumagu and Mikasuji try to fight Nui, while Satsuki wears her god robe Junketsu and attacks Ryuko. Meiko helps Ryuko to regain her consciousness, saving her life. Later, Satsuki reveals that she ordered Nui to steal the scissor sword from Ryuko's father. She also claims that Ryuko's fight with the 4 student council members have helped her perfect the Ultima uniforms, and with the new models, she can dominate over all the other schools. Everything seems to end up going well for Satsuki. Let's see what she will do next. Satsuki prepares a raid on the other schools, namely Osaka, Kyoto, and Kobe. Hanuji Academy students are given the new improved Ultima uniforms to help them in the forthcoming battle. Ryuko is still not over losing control of herself, and she refuses to wear Senketsu anymore. Nui disguises herself as a member of the newspaper club and gets Meiko into trouble. As punishment, Meiko is sent to join the war troops. Ryuko finally wears Senketsu to save the newspaper club member, but soon it is revealed to be Nui. Nui defeats Ryuko and tears Senketsu into shreds. The pieces are taken by Satsuki, who wants to use them to make the Ultima uniform stronger. Only one piece of Senketsu was left in Ryuko's hand. Ryuko wakes up in Mikasuji's house and discovers that she was able to keep one piece of Senketsu. The other pieces have now been distributed among the other students going out to fight the other schools. Ryuko decides to go after the teams to recover the pieces of Senketsu, while Mikasuji resigns from his teaching role to take up an active role in the Nudist Beach organization. This being the name of an organization that seeks to eradicate Ultima uniforms will never not be funny. Gamagori leads the assault on Kobe, and it is successful. Jakuzur leads the assault on Abakamo Academy, and they also record success even though she required help from Inamuta. Sanajayama leads the attack against Naniwa Kinmen High School, a school protected by a certain Takarada. By the way, Takarada fights by throwing money at his opponents. Ryuko is able to quickly take back all the pieces of Senketsu by beating the students. It remains the final piece, and she learns that Satsuki is in possession of it. As the fight between Takarada and the Hanuji Academy students continue, Satsuki arrives and chases Takarada's forces away. Takarada transforms into a big robot, but the 4 members of the student council arrive in their new Ultima uniforms and they defeat Takarada. Ryuko arrives, followed by members of Nudist Beach, and the battleground becomes a free-for-all. Surprising everyone and herself, Ryuko is able to transform, even without the final piece of the Senketsu, and she engages Satsuki in battle, retrieving the missing part. Ryuko and Satsuki fight till a stalemate and the battle is called off. Satsuki is exhausted from the fight, so she goes to her mother's mansion to recover. Here her mother shows her the original life fiber, an extraterrestrial entity that produces parasitic fibers to feed on mankind. Hold up. This means that the Ultima uniforms and the god robe are made from these parasites, and the end goal is to enslave and dominate humanity. Ragyo also instructs her daughter, Satsuki, to organize a school festival. Mikasuji explains to Ryuko that the fibers are what induced humanity's evolution into Homo sapiens and brought the instinct to wear clothes. He also reveals that Ryuko's father founded the nudist beach organization and also created Senketsu to be utilized by Ryuko in her fight against the Kiryuin family as they try to dominate the world through fiber. Ryuko is pissed that Senketsu was made to fight against his own kind, and she gets into a fight with Sumagu. Sumagu is always eager to kill her. I wonder if he thinks they can save the world without her. After the fight, Mikasuji explains that Senketsu was made with Ryuko's DNA, hence only she can communicate with the cloth. Yes, if you've been following, then you'll know that she can communicate with this piece of clothing. Ragyo will be visiting her daughter's school soon, and the students are preparing hard for the ceremony. Ryuko decides to go to the ceremony as she has learned that it is a cover-up for Ragyo's plan to sacrifice the whole town to the life fibers. The ceremony starts and Ragyo makes the life fiber devour everyone. Ryuko and members of Nudist Beach arrive and they watch Satsuki stab Ragyo from the back, as she reveals that she built the school for her rebellion against her mother's evil plan. The members of the student academy free all the trapped students and citizens, then begin to fight against Nui. Satsuki reveals that from a young age, her mother had used her in several life fiber experiments. She also had a younger sister that was subjected to the same experiments and was later presumed to have died. Rei frees Ragyo and she quickly heals herself from the stab wound. Ragyo uses her mental refitting technique to take control of all the students at the school, turning them into her personal army. Ragyo also takes control of Ryuko, making her fight against Satsuki, but Ryuko is eventually able to regain control of herself. Ryuko's synchronization with Senketsu is now at a high level, and she easily takes the lead in a battle against Nui. Satsuki slices off Ragyo's head, but her mother regenerates her head, explaining that as far as a single fiber is left, she can regenerate her head being cut off. Some of Satsuki's allies infiltrated Kiryuin's manor, but their attempts to disable the original life fiber ends in futility. Ragyo beats Satsuki mercilessly and strips her of the Junketsu. An army of life fiber, living clothes appear in the sky. Ragyo takes Ryuko by surprise and rips out her heart. They discover that it is made of fiber. Ryuko is neither human nor clothing. Who would have thought? Ragyo reveals that Ryuko is her long-lost daughter and Satsuki's younger sister. The living clothings in the sky, known as covers, begin to kidnap citizens, using their life force to power themselves. Satsuki triggers an explosion that allows Ryuko escape, and we have a time skip. The next scene is a month later. The covers have taken over Japan and the members of the student council have teamed up with Nudist Beach as the resistance. Satsuki is held captive by her mother. She is hanging naked in a cage while Ryuko has been in a coma since the fights 1 month ago. Members of the student council create a new device that is able to free people trapped by the covers, and they use it to save Meiko Menkinshoku. In a fight between the Nudist Beach and the covers begin to make disruptive noises and it wakes Ryuko from her coma. She angrily destroys the covers. Now feeling that she is a non-human monster, she harbors resentment for Senketsu and refuses to wear it. Satsuki begins her escape from her captivity. A fake version of Nui and Ragyo invite Ryuko to come challenge them at Hanuji Academy. Ryuko has a quarrel with Mikasuji and all efforts to get her to wear Senketsu fails as she goes off to the academy. What the hell has happened to Ryuko? Inamuta is able to hack into Hanuji and sees that Satsuki has started her escape. They decide to go after Ryuko. Arriving at the academy, Ryuko gets into a fight with Nui and stabs her, but it is revealed that Nui's heart is also made of life fiber. The Nudist Beach crew arrive and become to bomb everywhere. Satsuki is able to escape completely naked in the commotion. Sanajayama, Gamagori, and Jakujur rescue Satsuki from the army of covers and transport her with their helicopter. Ragyo forces Ryuko to wear a now modified Junketsu. Ragyo also tampers with her memory, making Ryuko loyal to her. Ryuko is sent off to fight against her former allies. She easily defeats Sumagu and now has to face Satsuki, who is wearing Senketsu. Yay! The two sisters have swapped god robes. I know we were all waiting for this. Satsuki and Senketsu are not in sync and soon they are overwhelmed by Ryuko. Members of the student council try to use their device to remove Junketsu from Ryuko's body, but Nui arrives and states that forcefully separating them will lead to death for Ryuko. In a moment of misunderstanding, Meiko wears Senketsu and after Satsuki creates an opening, Meiko and Senketsu dive into Ryuko's body and awaken her true memories, freeing her from Ragyo's control. A now conscious Ryuko rips off Junketsu from her body but doesn't die. She decides to wear Senketsu once again. Ryuko begins her fight with Nui. They've fought so many times now that I've lost count. She dominates Nui and retrieves the second half of the scissor sword, using it to cut off Nui's arms. It is revealed that Nui cannot regenerate her hands due to the special powers of the scissor sword. Nui is rescued by Rei, while Nudist Beach uses the new device to free several students from the covers. Satsuki calls on her sister Ryuko for assistance and they agree to save their world together from enslavement by the life fibers. Senketsu is modified once again and new Ultima uniforms are created for the students. Satsuki tells everyone that Ragyo wants to link the original life fiber to Hanuji's satellite uplink and transmit its signal across the globe. Meiko and the others fight a giant cover, while the two sisters head off for their final fight with their mother. The girls confront their mother who now wields a pair of needle blades. Ragyo cuts Ryuko into two, and while we are wondering what will be the fate of our main character, it is revealed that it is part of a plan by Ryuko. Satsuki distracts Ragyo while Ryuko heals in the ocean and gets to freely attack the original life fiber. Meiko and the others arrive, and they launch the ship, crashing it into the original life fiber. Nui has finished preparing the ultimate god robe for Ragyo and the final battle is about to begin proper. With her new god robe, Ragyo is able to negate the effect of everyone's god robe or Ultima uniforms. She continues beating all her opponents but doesn't kill them. One of her workers says that she hasn't killed them yet because they will make excellent fuel for the original life fiber. With her godrobe's power, she resurrects the original life fiber, summons it to the academy to take over the students. Nui mocks their efforts but Meiko responds that the bond between Ryuko and Senketsu is proof that humans and clothes can coexist. Gamagori protects Meiko from an attack and seemingly dies. Ryuko begins to fight without Senketsu. She explains that her combination of human and life fiber physiology makes her immune to Ragyo's new godrobe's powers. Ryuko fights Ragyo but is easily beaten. Senketsu manages to pierce Ragyo's body, restoring everyone's power. Senketsu states that it is not just a cloth, but rather a hybrid like Ryuko, and it has finally realized that it can communicate with Satsuki. With their abilities to fight back now restored, the sisters take one of the scissor sword each and engage Ragyo in battle. Gamagori suddenly appears and it is explained that he didn't die, rather he was knocked out. He helps the other members of the student council to destroy the barrier and blast a hole in the satellite uplink. Just when it seems like everything is coming to an end, Nui decapitates herself and fuses with the original life fiber. The combined being then merges with Ragyo. Damn, just how strong can Ragyo get? Ragyo flies into space. She wants to activate the satellite directly. Ryuko absorbs the power of all the god robes and Ultima uniforms and flies into space to fight her mother. Just like their previous fights, Ragyo beats Ryuko easily. However, it is revealed that Ryuko willingly took the attacks to provide Senketsu with the power needed to absolve her mother's god robe. After absorbing it, Ryuko uses its power to command the life fibers to release all the trapped humans. Ryuko tells Ragyo that she has lost. Ragyo rips into her own chest and destroys her heart, committing suicide. Before she disintegrates, she states that one day the life fibers will return. A damaged Senketsu uses its last strength to transport Ryuko back to Earth. Satsuki and all the others welcome her, and they start a new life now free from the threat of the life fibers.